Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. You may hear my dogs make some extra noise because I'm using the induction burner, and Max freaks out every time that it makes a beep. So bear with me on that. What we're going to make today is Butterbeer, or butterscotch syrup. So typically you do that with brown sugar. As my friend Jenny Field has let us all know, that caramel is made with white sugar that gets caramelized, and butterscotch is made with brown sugar. I'm going to go ahead and melt a couple of tablespoons of Earth Balance. You could totally leave this out. It's just for a little bit of extra flavor. If you wanted to have a little bit of imitation butter extract, you could do that too. Oh, I think you got used to it. Excellent. So we're just going to melt that down. I am going to put in 1 can of full-fat coconut milk, and I want to get all the good fat in there. So again, if you're on a low or a no-fat diet, you might want to skip this one, but it's really good. And if you're just doing it every once in a while, I think it's probably okay. If you have a health issue, obviously that's not okay. But when we're looking at doing this for Halloween, because I'm actually having a Harry Potter Halloween party, so I'm going to be making up a big batch of this so I can make either hot butterbeer, which would be this with mixed with some warm non-dairy milk. Probably cashew milk would be good. Or I want to go ahead and let that coconut fat melt a little bit too. And it's really easy. There's really just not that many steps to it. We're going to heat it up, and then we're going to add in the brown sugar and kind of get it where it simmers pretty well, and then it'll start to thicken. And then once we take it off the heat, we'll add some vanilla, and we can add some salt too if we want. And it's really just that easy. And it's not easy finding vegan butterscotch. And this time I'm set up where I have a computer over here, so if you have some questions and you want to type them in, I should be able to see them. So please feel free. And I'm not seeing everyone who's here like I usually do. So anyhow, thanks for joining. And hopefully you guys have some good stuff planned for Halloween too. We have, it's behind the camera though, we have our candles hanging from the ceiling so that it'll look like the dining room in Hogwarts. And we have some keys, and I'm trying to plan the menu now. And so I'm still kind of going back and forth. I'm thinking of doing some vegan Yorkshire puddings with gravy. I think that could be kind of fun. So as you can see, all that's melted out now, so it'll be a little easier to just kind of stir in my brown sugar. And I'm going to put about a cup in. You can do more or less, and remember again though, that this is a syrup. So we're not going to drink this. We're going to put this in with some other things. And that's what's really going to kind of make it good. So it is super sugar heavy for what it is. Oh yeah, hi Olivia, thank you so much for joining, and this will be available later. And thanks for checking in even though you're at work. I won't tell anybody though. And this, I think this recipe may or may not be up on the blog, so I will put that up on the blog if it's not. Oh, hi Terry, it's so good to see you here. So Terry said that she likes my inspiration, so she must be a crazy cook like me. Terry, what's some of the favorite things you've made recently? And what I really, really want to know is who's having a Halloween party soon. You see, I'm just melting this down. And mostly we just have chat time while some of this is going on. I might actually put a little bit more sugar because I don't think it looks quite. Yeah, I think it needs a little bit more because what I don't want is for it to taste so much like coconut. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just in this one in particular. So I'm going to double the amount of sugar, which is why I went to Whole Foods and got some sugar. And I used Earth Balance. A lot of people don't like to use Earth Balance, and you could just leave it out altogether. The one thing that somebody else with a mad face. I never understand whoever has the mad face, what I'm doing to make you angry. Unless it's you, Denise, and I'm wearing a shirt with words on it. But, so I'm just melting that sugar down in there. And then once this gets kind of where I think it should be sweet-wise, I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit more again so I can get it almost to a boil. I want it to have some little bubbles, but I also don't want to heat it too high. So that's going to be another thing that I'm working on. Oh, Terry likes recipes from the Outrageous Oatmeal Book. And a really good one, and it's on the blog as well, is the mushroom congee that uses steel cut oats. That's a really great one for cool weather and for colds. Ooh, this is looking all nice and dark. And I probably should have worn my little Hogwarts robe. And I could pretend I'm in potions class. Not that I would ever do that, right? You guys know that I'm a total geek. Who else would write an oatmeal book full of things? There's also an oat liqueur that's kind of like an Irish cream in there too, so that's kind of fun. I'm not so used to using the induction burner, so I'm trying to be mindful and cautious. So you can certainly, if I was on my stove, I would have turned up the heat much more. This also talks to me in watts instead of just numbers. So that makes me, even though it tells you what it's supposed to be, like it says 1200 is just under stir fry, but it's above roast and stew. And if that makes sense to you guys, maybe one of you needs to come and assist me next time. So mostly making caramel or butterscotch is just kind of stirring and waiting. And if it doesn't thicken up enough, I probably will go ahead and add even more sugar in there. It's the sugar that's going to make it really nice and thick. And one of the reasons you want to use full-fat coconut milk rather than regular coconut milk or light coconut milk, full-fat is regular coconut milk, is that it's just going to take longer because light coconut milk is just watered down coconut milk. So what we're doing right now is kind of cooking some of the water out of this. Oh, well that was exciting. That went all the way back. So I was on 200. But we'll be doing more on the induction burner in weeks to come. And maybe does anybody have a recipe that they're interested in me showing you next week? I would still be in the Halloween spirit if you want a Halloween recipe, but we could also start doing something for a nice vegan Thanksgiving. Is anybody looking for some ideas, like maybe a stuffing, a pie, soups? I love soups. And actually, someone in the group requested that maybe I do a soup class, because soon I'm going to do a couple of online cooking classes. So kind of like this, only a little more organized, and we'll all be in there together, and you'll be able to ask questions. So if you have some, I don't know if you guys can see because I have a new camera. It's not focusing quite the way I'd like it to. But you can kind of see right around in there where it's just sort of starting. And you can see, hopefully, some of the water evaporating out as steam. So I'm also trying to decide what else I'm going to make for Harry Potter dinner. I think I'm going to make a split pea soup with smoked butternut squash croutons. I was also thinking of maybe doing Becky Stripes bacon cashews to top it off with. So it can be the leaky cauldron soup. I'm thinking of maybe doing a pot pie or a shepherd's pie. And I'm still trying to decide between those. I have a whole list of what's going on. Now you should be able to see that this is really, really going now. So it's pretty much to a boil. But you don't want to leave it at all. And all you're going to do is find someone to talk to, like I've conned you into talking to me, and stir a lot. But once it's done, you'll have a whole jar of it. And you could put it in sparkling water and maybe put some coconut whipped cream. And I would whip it up with a little bit of the butterscotch syrup too, and that would make a nice fizzy carbonated butterbeer. You could also do a few tablespoons in with some ice in your blender and make a frozen butterbeer with that. And you can make a hot butterbeer, which is even better. Cheryl got to try one for me to give me an idea of what it tastes like at Universal, and it really is basically a hot vanilla butterscotch. You see, this is still a little thinner than I'd like it to be. It's thicker than it was. Can you guys see that a little bit? Oh, hi, David. David would like to do some air fryer recipes. Absolutely. The air fryer makes the best tofu. And I think that if you can afford it and you have a place in your kitchen, it's worth getting just for that. And you can do a lot more with it. You can bake in it too. So you can make like single serving oatmeals. You can make fried tofu. You can make roasted vegetables. So it doesn't have to all be, you know, just things that you think of as overly fried that you only want to have every once in a while. Let's go a little bit more. And with you guys, with the classes too, if you want to let me know if it's better in the evenings during the week or a weekend, because what I'm thinking of doing is starting a group for a single class, then you would sign up for it, and then it would be available for replay. So I will go ahead and put something up in the group later, Vegan Cooking with Kathy Hester, if you're watching this not from the group. And that way we can talk about some classes. I'd like to do at least one next month. And then hopefully in the beginning of the year, I'm going to do quite a few more. That's getting pretty good. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing is I'm kind of taking some and looking to see how it's thickened a little bit more. We don't really want this to get as thick as a caramel, because I want it to mix in really easily with my beverages. So let's try turning it off. Actually, let's see if I can do this. Ooh, almost. Let me get a new spoon. I'll be right back. It tastes pretty good. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. And so you can see that it's still liquidy, and it probably will tighten up just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of vanilla, probably about a teaspoon. And I'm going to put just a little bit of salt in case my friend Jenny Field watches this, because she is the salt queen. Everything that is sweet, she likes to have a little bit of salt to balance it out. And she is pastry chef online, and I'm just a vegan home cook, so she knows her stuff. Okay. So how many of you are going to try and make this? Because it's really easy. It's really 3 main ingredients and 2 sort of auxiliary ingredients. It's just a tablespoon or 2 of Earth Balance melted with a can of full-fat coconut milk. I don't know if it's gonna, if I go back more, does that help? Nope. Okay. We'll figure out this camera thing next time. And just some plain old brown sugar. Now, you could also use sugar in raw. I don't see any reason why you couldn't. Now, one thing, if you're wanting to use an alternative sweetener like a stevia or monk fruit, that is not going to thicken the syrup. It'll be very thin and it's not going to keep as long. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can still make yourself, you know, a stevia butterbeer with it. And what's most important when you're cooking is that it works well for you, right? So if you have some questions, I'm going to take another spoon and taste it one last time, hopefully. Oh my God, you guys, I wish I could give you a taste through the camera. It's so good. It's super sweet. You'd hardly know that there was any coconut in it because what you taste is a little bit of the butter flavor with lots of the brown sugar molasses flavors with it, a hint of vanilla, and you don't taste the salt, but it does make everything seem a little bit sweeter. So hopefully you guys feel good about making yourself some butterscotch syrup, and you can put this on pancakes, on ice cream. You can put it in your coffee. There's nothing wrong with a Butterbeer iced coffee. So hopefully tomorrow you'll be joining me in one. And thanks so much for coming to visit me. And I'll see you next Tuesday with some other recipe. If you have something you would like me to do that's probably a shorter recipe, go ahead and leave that in the comments or in my group, Vegan Cooking with Kathy Hester, and I'll see if I can't accommodate that, okay? Happy Halloween, you guys.